Alright folks, so here I got an Atari AR board. It's the first type that was used on Asteroid, and well, this one already, I know it's not working, but already I'm guessing what's wrong here. This is a diode and it doesn't look too healthy, to be honest. So I'm just gonna do I'm just gonna check that it's indeed failed, but I think we can pretty much guess that it has. I'm also going to recap all these, change all these caps. I think I have spare ones on hand, and I've already a spare one, a diode here. I'm going to check this diode as well. It's the same type, and check this one as well. Well, I could check the transistors, but these are used for audio. I could check this one actually, just a quick check. Other than that, I'm just gonna replace that. I mean, I can pretty much tell that this is the problem. We got our 5 volt is coming. The way these works is the supply 5 volt through this or is it this line here? Is it? Yeah. But here there's a sensor. Well, there's two sensors, a negative and a plus here, and these are going to this to this regulator that regulates the 5 volt, this round thing here with all these pins, and so this guy is going here, going to the regulator, and this other guy is going here, sorry, but that's connected to this diode that's connected to ground. So the way this works is the board. This is early stuff, 79. So the board would supply 5 volt to the board, but because the demands on the 5 volt rail from the board could be quite high, sometimes it can drop, sometimes it can fluctuate, and this is what this thing does. It senses the voltage and just regulates that. So if it drops to 4.7, something like that, 4.6, it would send a bit more just to bring it back to 5 volt. That works well in theory, but it's susceptible to your connectors, for example, being clean, or general resistance in your cables. But the edge connector on the board and your edge connector, especially if you have different metals, it could cause some extra resistance or corrosion or things like that, can affect all of that. So sometimes it has a tendency just to, if it detects that it's not getting 5 volt properly, probably because there's some corrosion on the edge connector, it cranks up the 5 volt, and this can lead to typically burnt resistors. Normally there would be a resistor here, as far as I know, on the AR2 boards, but here it's a diode, but these can burn. So let's change that. Let's recap this thing while we have it out, and we'll see what happens after it. Well, it didn't take very long. As soon as I used my solder gun and desoldered the legs, this broke. It probably was broken already. So yeah, we need to change that anyway. Whether that's the reason my 5 volt. Oh yeah, I forgot to explain. The 5 volt on this guy wasn't supplying 5 volt. It was actually supplying 10 volts to the board, which is not great. So there's probably some damage to the board. This is part of a bigger restoration of an Asteroid cabinet, but I'm doing this one on its own because it might be interesting if you're picking this one up, and if you're just looking for an extra video on somebody fixing these. So I've desoldered this as well. I'm just going to test it sort of out of circuit, like so, and this guy as well. Just going to test them just because I've the board out, and might as well. And there could be more damage than what's obviously damaged here. And then I'm gonna just replace all of these. Right, so I changed these caps. I didn't have any radial ones for these, or here. I just had radials for these guys. So these two here, the big ones, those big radial ones, is it these ones? Yeah. Both of them tested well, just high ESR. This is an ESR tester here, and they didn't check out good, so it was good to change them. I think they look like they are something to do with the audio, yeah, which is fair enough. These guys tested okay, so but it's still good to change them, and these guys were absolutely fine. These were just on the limit of ESR, so it was good to change them. These guys were fine, but look at it's good to change them. These boards, I mean, this is 7982, something like that. Asteroid, what is in it? No, yeah, 79. Can't remember. If they haven't been changed, it doesn't look like they had been, because the solder was pretty clean, not in my shoddy type of work. So it's good to change them, and I changed the diode. This is a, where is it? This is, I had it somewhere. It says, what does it say here? It doesn't say much. What does it say here? CR1, CR2, CR2, yeah, 2 and 3, sorry. These are 4001 diodes. So I had a few on hand, so I just I changed this one that was faulty. These two diodes, this one and this one, which is the same one as this guy, tested fine. No real reason to change them. I don't see any traces of burn to resistors or anything like that. I haven't tested the transistors. I'm just gonna put this back and see if that did the trick and fixed our 5-volt rail. Alright, so I got the power supply here. Is the big blue cap. It's cleaned somewhat. While it's here, I might as well just do more dust removal if I can. So here we have those two fuses, those two 7-amp fuses, and they both blew at some point. This one is stable now, it's not blowing, but this one keeps blowing. So if I look at the back here, I've already detached here, but this is where the big blue cap come. That's our 2 lines, and they go through these well, there's 2 normally, just giant diodes. That's what they are, giant diodes, and into the cap. The cap helps regulate the 10 point something volt, 10.6 volt unregulated DC to the AR board. And when I was looking here, so those 2 diodes, this one was fine, but this one is fried. It's actually shorted on both sides, and yeah, so might as well replace it. So I'm going to order 2, and might as well, I need to replace it. I'm going to order 2, and I might as well replace this one as well. So I'll do just that. And I've ordered a new big blue cap, which is going to be black, but this can cause a lot of trouble as well if it's not working properly. So I've to block out. I've no reason to believe that's the cause, but I've to block out and might as well replace it anyway and just be done with it. I mean, these things are 30 years old now. They would have been fairly dried up. So new cap, new diode, and hopefully that will solve our problems, general problems with the power supply on the Asteroid. So let's do that. All right, so we replaced our big blue cap with this one. This comes from Arcade Parts and Repair. It's all the way from the US, so you have to wait a few days if, like me, you're in Europe to get it. But there you go. If you're unsure, because here there's no visible other than underneath sign of polarity, and here is the negative side. If you're unsure, you can see, actually, this is going to be awkward with one hand. Let me just try this. There you go. This thing is heavy. If you're unsure of the polarity, this board here will tell you exactly, thank you phone, where the negative sign is, and it's, well, it's under here anyway. But this board has just a negative sign there, so it'll let you know where to put it. This is so heavy. Anyway, so negative goes on this side. But just double check if you have that board underneath. There should be a sign somewhere. The other thing, so there's no fuse here. I'll put one, and here this is our AR board. Just replace that thing, recapped it. You've seen that already. So now, also I cleaned it. Look at it. Look how clean it is, and I'm not afraid to touch it anymore. And now you can also see all the markings and all that kind of stuff. So it was a good thing to spend a bit of time on it. So we're gonna just put these back in the cab and see if that brought our our 10 volt and 5 volt, more importantly, back. And then we can just try and plug the board in and see if that board is working at all before we do anything to it. Alright, while I'm at it, I actually got a second AR board. This one was obviously very faulty. I started replacing the caps. It's a little note actually, this is a slightly different revision of the same serial number, which is interesting, or same model number, which is yeah, interesting. This one is actually visible traces on the top part here, so you want to be careful replacing some of the caps because they can actually bridge over the trace. That's why you normally have these when you have stuff like that, so they actually, there's no lead going over traces. So I just put a little piece of electrical tape just over them, just to make sure that there's no contact. I still have those two to replace. I'm going to do that here. I only got these guys, so that's what I replaced them with. And you may have noticed the connectors here are well, best described as fucked. So I need to these are the crimps. The problem is these crimps solder onto the board, so I need to find out exactly what type they are, and I'm gonna uncrimp these, remove those. Should be able to push them out from the back, I think, and then re-crimp them. I just want to make sure that I get the orientation exactly the same. Which one? Yeah, this is here. So I'm gonna do that, and first I'm gonna try and find out what crimps these are. These are Molex type connectors, but the crimps, I don't know. I'll have to find out. Anyway, let's go internet. That's it. It took a while. Well, a day. I posted a few messages on the forums, and I got a lot of reply, but none that were actually useful. People who were telling me it's Molex connectors. I know that. But first, thank you very much for even replying. But yeah, no, I know these were Molex connectors. What I was trying to find out was what type of crimps these are. So this little bit here solders onto the back. Excuse my dirty fingers, I was working on the cab today. So I'm going to put these in. These are the guys. Yeah, this is the part number you want, 0209 1134. So I got a few, I got enough for this, so I'm gonna re-crimp this connector and solder it back. If you're wondering how to put these on, so this is the pad that solders onto the board, and you slide them from underneath. You see those little tabs here, they will lock in place once they're inside, so it's gonna be tricky to do with one hand, but I will do my best, and my best is not very good. And there you go. And then just very gently, you're gonna hear a click. There you go. So that's one done. I'm gonna do the other one, and to push them out you need one of these little tools. They come in different sizes. I don't know what they're called, but if you find uncrimping tool or decrimp tool, and I'm just pushing them back from underneath. That's what you get, and then you can use pliers just to pry them out like that. Anyway, there you go. We got a new connectors, new caps. Hopefully this is fixed. I did check this guy, test fine. These transistors test fine. All the diodes tested okay. So I'm gonna take it on faith, and hope that it's now working, or it should be. Let's go try these boards in the cab now. Right, I got the first AR board in the cab, and the good news, I see the red light here. I'm reading 5.47, it's probably a bit too high. I'm not gonna keep this on for longer, but I just need to adjust. You can adjust the 5 volt here, this little pot guy, trim pot. So I'll do that, and let's test the other AR board. Okay, second AR board, I have my leads in the test points. You wanna be careful here not to touch this diode here. I don't know if you can see it. This is it a diode? Yeah, it's a diode. So especially leaving it like that. Anyway, let's power this guy, and all right, we got power to the board, and we got 5 here, 0.33. I think we can call this a success. The whole point was to get the power section first cleaned up, because this was filthy. And I'm going to hoover the inside now, just make this nice and clean, and secure everything in here, and then we can move on to stuff like the monitor and the board. So I think for this video, and this is it, folks, I'm going to leave it at that. This is a partial success on the way to restoring this, what was it, 1979 Asteroid, Atari Asteroid cab. Really happy. This is taking shape, and the cab is looking great. Anyway, AR board and power brick and Big Blue and all that kind of stuff changed and working now, so we got power to the board. Next time I think we'll probably have a look at if the game isn't even starting. So right now it's getting power. I don't know if it's starting, if there's an error message or anything like that. I suppose I could check the I've the control panel connected. Yes, I do. I could technically check if there is anything coming here. Usually if the game is waiting for something... Oh, these buttons are stuck. Yeah, there's not much happening. I'm not hearing any sound, so the board probably isn't booting. Which actually brings me to the next topic. Should I spend time myself on the board and the hardware I don't really know much about, or send it somewhere to get fixed and get that out of the way and then focus on the monitor instead? The monitor is here. It will need some maintenance. I'm going to recap the high voltage and this section here. Just do some just check on diodes and transistors and that kind of stuff before I do anything. I replug it back. So yeah, I think that would be probably safest. Even if it is working as it is now, it's out. It's a good opportunity to do some maintenance. It's not gonna be working forever with these old caps and old parts that can be easily changed now that it's out. So I'll do that next. Just some maintenance on the monitor. Maybe send the board to a retro clinic for repair, because Mark Hisman does a great job at just doing some even preventative maintenance, doing changing all the sockets and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, folks, this is it for this video. Happy with this, and I got a spare AR board, which is great. It's absolutely great. Folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.